Late in the evening, the old restaurant was almost empty. In the kitchen, to the soft rush of water and the clatter of dishes, the last ones were finishing their shift. 3 exhausted chefs and 1 dishwasher. Yana. Suddenly, Oleg Pavlovich burst in. The owner of the restaurant himself, pale, shaken, clutching a crumpled napkin in his hand. "I urgently need a wife," he blurted out, scanning the kitchen like a general who had just lost his army. Everyone instantly took a step back. Everyone except Yana, slim, with red curls stuck to her cheek and a wet apron. "You," Oleg Pavlovich pointed at her. "Take off the apron. Put on something decent. Tonight, you're my wife." "Me?" Yana breathed out. "Yes, there's no one else," he barked, and dragged her toward the staff locker room. "But before we continue, let me introduce myself. Write in the comments which country and city you're listening from. And now, I wish you a pleasant listening experience." Half an hour later, a taxi stopped in front of the restaurant's luxurious entrance. Oleg Pavlovich and Yana jumped out almost on the run, fixing their clothes as they went. She barely kept up, awkwardly clicking her heels and squeezing a tiny handbag in her hands. "Oleg Pavlovich," Yana whispered, struggling to match his pace. "Why me? He didn't even turn his head. "So they don't eat me alive." Yana fell silent. There was no joke in his voice. No doubt. Her heart started beating faster. She didn't fully understand what he meant, but instinctively she felt it. Tonight, there would be a battle. The private dining room smelled of leather, wood, and aged wine. A heavy oak table, soft lamplight, attentive waiters in white gloves. Everything felt like an arena, where people fought without blood, only with money. Yana sat surrounded by men in expensive suits, groomed, confident, used to power. These were the people who had come for Oleg Pavlovich's restaurant. They wanted the land in the city center. The restaurant itself was just an obstacle. The investors lounged comfortably, lazily swirling wine in their glasses. The conversation was polite, but sharp. Debts. Land. Selling out. They smiled courteously, but behind those smiles Yana felt pressure. Sticky and heavy, like tar under the sun. Their eyes slid slowly over Oleg Pavlovich and Yana. He forced a smile, trying to look like a happy family man, but his nerves were obvious. Yana felt like a mouse among snakes. Marat Ilyich, the initiator of the meeting, gently rocked his wine glass. "Well, Oleg, it's time to face reality," he said smoothly. "You can't handle this monster alone. This is the city center, golden land. Your restaurant is cozy, sure, but outdated, not fashionable anymore." Leaning back lazily, he added, "How are your finances?" "Not great, I see." He glanced mockingly at Yana's worn dress. "Maybe we can help improve your family's financial situation by buying your dying business." Yana caught his condescending gaze, her face flushing. Oleg Pavlovich grimaced, but held back. "They'll take the land anyway," added another investor, youthful-looking with a neat beard. "Better to sell voluntarily, at a fair price, peacefully. Retirement, a wife, some rest." The third one drawled dreamily, looking around the hall. "Life should be beautiful, and we offer a fast deal, no scandals." "Gentlemen, let's drink to the meeting first," Oleg said, feeling his throat go dry. Marat Ilyich smirked and turned to Yana. "And what do you think, mistress of the house? Do you even know which day brings you the most profit, if such a day exists?" Yana froze for a second. Then she smiled. "The most profitable day is when the chefs don't argue, the waiters don't fight over tips, and the guests leave happy. According to the books, Wednesday, Pensioners' Day, free herring." A short laugh ran around the table. Marat Ilyich smiled crookedly. Then another investor asked, "And what about your wine list? What would you serve with trout?" Yana smiled again. "From the nearest shop. Proven wine." Without waiting for permission, she confidently poured wine into Marat Ilyich's glass. A couple of drops landed on his perfect cuff. He jumped up. "What kind of rudeness is this?" But another investor slapped his knee and burst out laughing. "Bravo! Now that is a real hostess." Oleg Pavlovich immediately joined in. "We don't do pretentiousness here, gentlemen. Everything's simple. Honest food. A united team." Murat Ilyich sat back down, wiping his sleeve with a napkin. The arrogance on his face was gone. The ice had started to melt. "All right," he grumbled. "Honesty is good. But business is about money. How did you survive the pandemic? Still drowning in bank debt, I suppose?" Yana calmly folded her hands on the table. "We're a family. We don't give up. When needed, we pick up rags and pots ourselves, because this is our home. And as you can see, we're still standing. Money favors those who put their soul into what they love." The investors exchanged glances, but Murat Ilyich pressed on. "Still, isn't it time for your husband to retire? Maldives, some sun, a graceful exit? He's not exactly young anymore."
Silence fell over the table. Yana felt the blow. Soft on the outside, cruel inside. She paused for a second, then leaned toward Oleg Pavlovich, kissed him lightly on the cheek, and laughed. "Maldives? Oh, please. With me, he's just getting started. Not a man, a real stallion." Oleg Pavlovich blushed deeply, but for the first time that evening, his smile was genuine. The investors looked at each other. Their gazes changed, from ironic to attentive, respectful. A few minutes later, pouring his own wine now, Murat Ilyich said, "All right, let's discuss another format. No takeover. Maybe a partnership." From that moment on, the tone shifted. The hidden threats disappeared. They talked about cooperation, joint projects. Yana sat quietly, not interfering, but she knew. The battle was won. When they stepped outside, a soft night sky stretched overhead. The city hummed somewhere in the distance. Yana stood nearby, still clutching her tiny handbag like a shield. Oleg Pavlovich glanced at her, smirked, and said, "You know, if I'd known a wife helps this much in negotiations, I'd have married a waitress years ago." Yana laughed. "Oh, don't. Not every waitress can save a restaurant with one kiss." He stopped and looked at her carefully. "So, you saved it." He offered his elbow, as if inviting her to walk on equal footing. Yana hesitated only for a moment, then confidently took his arm. "Well then, boss," she winked. "Learn to trust the right women." And they walked forward, leaving behind the lights of the luxurious restaurant and the long, difficult night they had won together. A few days after that fateful dinner, Yana's life changed. Every morning, she came to the restaurant no longer to pull on an old apron and sticky gloves. Now, she hurried through the office and dining hall in a neat blouse and a strict skirt. On her chest was a badge, Yana, assistant manager. She still sometimes forgot her new role, catching herself grabbing a rag to wipe tables, helping waiters collect cutlery, rushing into the kitchen during lunch rush. "Stop!" Oleg Pavlovich once called out cheerfully. "You're the bridge between the kitchen and the dining room now, not the fire brigade. Learn to command." Yana laughed, blushing. Commanding wasn't easy, especially when chefs grumbled, waiters argued over shifts, and a guest complained about the wrong coffee. But day by day, she grew more confident. She learned to resolve conflicts quickly, sense the team's mood, negotiate instead of arguing. And most importantly, she wasn't afraid to ask questions. She wasn't afraid to say, "I don't know, let's figure it out together." Sometimes it all felt overwhelming, like when she had 30 minutes to recalculate supplies or renegotiate a contract with a new vendor. In those moments, Oleg Pavlovich would just look at her calmly and say, "You'll manage. I once knew nothing too. The main thing is, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty." And she managed. One evening, collecting napkins with the waiters, after an especially successful day, Yana suddenly realized she wasn't just an assistant manager anymore. She had become part of this place, its heart. And now, write in the comments whether you liked this story. And be sure to subscribe to our channel.